As we prepare for the election and we look back on the past 1,111 days, I think it is, since the last election, there's a lot that has been disappointing about the past 3 years, but none more so than the absolute failure of the hung parliament to come up with legitimate changes to the way that our elections are run and the way that all political parties, major and minor, try to pull the wool over our eyes. It is only when you have a minority parliament that you can make the sorts of demands that would change the system for the better. In no particular order. This election we had the debate about debates. We should have had a debates commission. We have the debate about costings. It should have been made very clear that you had to have your costings in and publicly released by the last week of the campaign. We had the nonsense of this calendar year, of this government that's about to lose, well and truly lose on Saturday, spending hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of taxpayer funds on clear political ads, both before the election and then when it comes to boat people going into the election. We have a nonsense about a system where campaigns are officially launched as late as 7 days before the campaign actually ends and we go off and vote. In the meantime, you and I pick up the bill for some of the ancillary costs. These are all things that should have been changed, and these are all things that could only have been changed by a minority government saying to both Julia Gillard and Tony Abbott, when all of this came around 3 and a bit years ago, you need to change the way the game works and then I'll give you your support. Instead, they got part of this up as part of their agreement, but at no time, particularly on the Debates Commission, did somebody like Rob Oakeshott decide to pull the pin on the whole show if a Debates Commission was not put in place. Instead, we have exactly the same debates with exactly the same nonsense, with exactly the same obfuscation and exactly the same lies from all sides of politics, and we should have had a real game changer. Forget a new paradigm, it should have been a new game. One that works for us, not one that works for the political parties. But perhaps the biggest fraud of all has been on the subject of advertising. A lot of us were very excited because at midnight we thought, oh, that's it. No more of those bloody ads. No more ads on TV. No more ads on the radio. Yeah, I'll have to see a couple of things in the paper, but I can flick past it. Electronic media, done. Well, guess what? It didn't end. As you know, if you've got a Facebook account or you've just been anywhere near the internet today, that's where all the ads have gone. That's where millions of dollars is being spent. In fact, as late as last night, old mate Kevin Rudd was sending out a fundraising letter to supporters saying, hey, can you chip in $5 so we can buy Facebook ads? You see, under the arcane laws that have not been changed, and the AEC have the laws, but ACMA are the ones who actually have to go and enforce them, the internet doesn't count as electronic media. Now, last time I checked, the only way you can power your computer is not with the sun. Last time I checked, the only way you can charge your iPhone isn't with a wind turbine. It's electronic media, for God's sake. This should have been changed. Instead, because the parties, they got together and just like we caught them with their hand in the till when it came to cash for votes, they didn't want to change this system at all. Oh, but just as he's going to be the man who's going to bring around gay marriage but actually has rigged a question that won't work, Kevin Rudd tried to stand up there at the press club today and with a straight face, he said this about reforming the system.
All I'm saying is I think Australians are beginning to get sick and tired of an electoral system which enables anyone, from whichever tradition, to effectively buy an election by virtue of being able to buy a huge amount of television advertising.
Yes, I agree. We're tired of the ads that try to influence the way that we feel. I'd like to show you a little graph. Now, this graph was done a couple of weeks ago, but I understand the picture is pretty much the same. It comes from PolitiFact. And you see it goes from the political party that has spent the most trying to buy your vote at this election. Oh, that'd be the ALP. And they are the top 11 advertisers at this federal election. The bloke who just said he wanted to reform the system so somebody didn't buy your vote, well, he didn't just rely upon ALP advertising, he relied upon advertising from the ACTU, he also relied upon it from the Australian Education Union, the Nurses and Midwives Association, the Northern Territory Education Union, and unsurprisingly, the Greens haven't been very critical in their advertising. Are there groups who are business groups? Yep, you bet. Including the salary packaging industry, big chunk of cash. But once you put it together with all the unions, I'm sorry, nobody's been trying to buy this election apart from Kevin Rudd. Nobody has been trying to game the system, unlike Kevin Rudd. But of course, the media never call him on this stuff. All they do is blindly run the grab that says Kevin's here to fix things. Well, Kevin's actually part of the problem, as are the head of the political parties, as are the media who never call them on this stuff, and as are the independents who are about to be wiped from history, who, despite all the things they were able to get to sugarcoat their own electorates just in case they wanted to run again, they failed our country by not being able to change the system, a system that at its heart is corrupted by purpose, and it works for the people who are trying to beg for our vote rather than the people who will decide who run the country. That'd be you and me.